Hello, welcome back to Oracle DBA tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss about DDL logs. So as we discussed in our last video about different types of logs, and then we talked about DML log in detail in the last video. And in this video, we are going to discuss about DDL log. And then why do we need DDL log? So basically, DDL logs are to protect schema definition while the object is undergoing on some sort of you know DDL. Okay, so let's try to give an example, and that will be clear. Say for example, in this is my SQL session 1. So this session 1, and then I have another session. So let's say this is called session 2. Oh, okay, so this is session 2, and what I'm trying to do, I have a table EMP, and I'm trying to alter that table. Okay, so alter table EMP, and let's say I'm going to add a new column, and that new column is called, say, a new sal. Okay, so I'm going to add a new column, and the column name is new sal. So while this alter is going on, from the session 1, so I just give this statement to execute, and this is getting executed, but it's not completely done. Okay, so it takes some time. Let's say it takes 1 second to complete this execution. Exactly at the same time, another user from another session give this kind of statement. So drop table EMP. Okay, so I just told this, these two statements are just gone at exactly at the same time, and this is the first one to be executed. So while this thing's executed, I should not able to drop this thing. Okay, so in that case, what's going to happen, we are going to acquire a DDL lock for this. Okay, and that lock, this session or this transaction which is doing this alter table, that should acquire a lock on EMP table, so that other users cannot drop or cannot do any destructive interaction with that object. Okay, so that is the goal of DDL lock. DDL lock protects schema definition. So DDL statement protects the schema definition of while the object is acted upon by an DDL. Okay, so example, so when this DDL is going on, I just want to make sure that this DDL should finish properly, and this DDL will only finish properly if you have a table called EMP. Alright, so therefore session 2 should not do that. So again, the DDL logs are of different types. So let's, okay, I can do it here. So basically there are 3 different types of DDL log. The first log is called exclusive DDL log, and the second one is called shared DDL log, and the final one is called breakable parse log. Okay, so DDL logs are of the 3 different types, and then what we're going to discuss, we're going to discuss in the next slide about these 3 different types of log and when these logs are being acquired. So what we are discussing is DDL logs, and the first one is exclusive DDL, and the second one is shared DDL, and the third one is breakable parse logs. Okay, so the example we have discussed in the previous thing, like, whenever this alter is going on, this will acquire a exclusive DDL log. Okay, the exclusive DDL lock will be acquired by this transaction on table EMP, and until how long this locks will be there? This lock is going to be there until the execution is over. So what do you do? So that is the reason why a DDL is always auto commit. Basically, immediately after this the statement is done, we are going to wrap with a commit statement. That is a default behavior of Oracle. Like, whenever you are running a DDL, it will make sure that after the DDL is over, it will give a commit. Okay, so so basically, it will start the lock when it will acquire that lock when starting to execute this statement, and when it commits that statement is finished, transaction is done, it will release that lock. So it's very few, these locks really is just come and go kind of thing. Okay, so it will just acquire and then it will be released as soon as possible. All right, so this is exclusive DDL lock, and then for shared DDL lock, this is basically to protect structure of reference object against any modification by other transactions. So let's try to understand what does it mean. Let's say an example, I'm going to create a view called create, say create view X as, I'm going to select from select something from EMP, comma department. Essentially, while this view is being created, okay, so I'm giving this thing, the view is getting created. During that time, nobody should change, other transactions should change any definition about EMP and DPT. So the schema definition of employee and department should not be allowed to change once this create view statement started and not yet done. Okay, so to get that thing done, what Oracle will going to do automatically is going to lock employee and department table a shared DDL lock. Okay, so in this case, employee table and department table will be locked using, say, shared DDL lock, and then this lock, the shared DDL lock, will still allow to insert, update, delete from this table. That means content can be allowed to change, but the definition, the schema definition of employee, like, if employee has 7 rows, sorry, 7 columns, then you cannot, you know you cannot remove a column or you cannot add a column. So those things are not allowed, and that is where we protect. So basically, essentially, using a shared DDL lock, we protect the reference object, and in this creation of the view, these are the reference object. And regarding the last one about the parse lock, so this is how it happened. Like, whenever you are giving a, you know like a query, or you are, let's say you do a query, say select star from EMP. So what happens is that an execution plan will be created for this query, and then it will be stored in your SGA. And remember, recall from whatever our architecture class, that we are going to have a shared pool, and in shared pool we are going to have a SQL area, right? In the SQL cache, we are going to have the parsed value and the execution plan for this select statement. So let's say we have this the executed execution plan for this select star from EMP. So when this happens, whenever this is called parsed statement, and whenever we are going to parse this thing on the employee table, Oracle is going to put a parse lock. Okay, the employee is going to put a parse lock, and then as long as this execution plan is there in the SGA, there will be a parse lock. However, if somebody in another session, right, so another session wants to go and then drop that table, so another session is go on and drop EMP, they can drop EMP, not a problem. In that case, what is going to happen, this lock and this parse statement of select star from EMP is going to be invalidated. Okay, is going to be invalidated. So that means it's no more a valid parse or execution plan, and then the lock was, the log that, the parse log what was there, it's going to be broken. Okay, so the parse log is going to be broken. Parse log is broken. Okay, the parse log is broken, and and then this SQL statement is invalid. The parse SQL statement is invalid. So essentially, this kind of parse lock will not disallow anybody else to change or modify. Like, for example, in all other things, we'll wait for the transaction to be complete, so that so that the second transaction is going to go and then change. Okay, but in this case, in this breakable parse lock, so basically, if somebody else wants to change or modify, they can modify, and in that case, the lock is going to be broken, and then that is why it is called breakable parse lock. So this is all about about DDL locks, and then these locks just make sure there's very short duration locks, unlike the other DML locks that you learned before. And with this, we completed the second part of DDL lock. So basically, sorry, second part of the locking. So we have done DML locks in the last video. In this video, we are done with DDL lock. In the next video, we are going to discuss about internal lock and latches.